Welcome to the Maritime Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Wioli. In each episode, we bring you exclusive interviews with maritime professionals, industry experts, and students. Our guests come from different backgrounds, including shipping, yachting, offshore, and more. Our goal is to give you all the knowledge you need to succeed in the maritime industry. Hello everyone, welcome to the Maritime Vision Podcast actually. So today in this new episode we are going to talk with Shri. This is your surname actually because you have a very complicated name, but don't be mad, I try to do my best. Shri is a vessel operator, has many experience as a seafarer as well I think. So it's very interesting. So today we're going to talk more about the vessel operation side. I think we're going to do a kind of introduction of vessel operation for people who want to know more about this job, this industry. So, Shri, can you start by telling us a little bit about your background? How did you start with the maritime industry, please?
Hi, everyone. So, my name's Shreyansh, Paul Lewis called me Shri. That's perfectly all right. So, I come from Mumbai, India. And I have a long connection with the shipping industry. I come from a family where my dad was also a sailor. So the first time that I was on board, I was literally a year old. So that's how far I go with my association with shipping. So that's how it started. My introduction was through my dad. And once he stopped sailing, I was about 6-7 years old, and I had made a decision, that I wanted to go out sailing because I loved it so much. So it was that 7-year-old's declaration that made it possible, that made it work. Later, when I finished, when I was 18, I got into a pre-sea training for a maritime training school. Trained to be a seafarer, came out to sea. So then I mostly sailed with, on tankers. It was a range of oil tankers, chemical tankers. I've also done a few LPGs. And then towards the last 5 years or 6 years of my sailing career, I was with BP, and solely on their tankers, on their vessels. And then fast forward to 2006, I sort of decided that I'd sailed enough. 2016, not 6, 2016.
How many years at sea?
Sorry, 16, not 6. So that was a correction. So that's about 10 years at sea.
10 years at sea, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So then, even before when I started, it was pretty clear in my head that, it was the 10 years that I wanted to put myself out at sea. I didn't want to, grow too old sailing. So then the natural shift to move ashore was, to sort of up my skills. That's how I landed up here in Rotterdam. Did my master's in shipping and transport, something similar to what you were doing. Yeah. That's how I came here. I got my first break with a freight forwarding company. I got in as a pricing analyst for project logistics. And after a couple of months or say a year with them, I started missing that association with shipping directly. I thought, I would, for me, initially it was a way to see if I could like something different other than shipping. But I somehow felt, the aspect of shipping was missing. So I was lucky enough, UAL, there's an opportunity with them. So that's how I got in as an operator. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So maybe we can start by talking about vessel operations. Can you explain a little bit what is the role of a vessel operator? It's maybe more for people who don't know on what kind of daily task you need to process.
Right. So when it comes to shipping, the commercial aspects of shipping, there are two parts. There's something known as a prefixture. That's what the chartering's about, where you look for cargoes. You fix cargoes on a vessel, and then you fix it basis your own calculations to see how much revenues that voyage can make you, and then you estimate numbers, and then once a cargo is fixed, this fixture is then passed on to an operator for the post fixtures. So the big responsibility that a vessel operator really has is that he's given a set of numbers, he's given a contract that is agreed on between the cargo and the carrier, the cargo owner and the carrier. It is his responsibility then to basically follow through on that contract, as in follow through on that fixture. So then it is important to make sure that you're always within budget. It is always important to know that everything's done safely, efficiently, and in the most perfect manner. So then you as an operator are like a focal point in the whole operations, because then you are coordinating with the vessel, you're coordinating with the charterers, you're coordinating with with the agents, with with so many other people who are involved in that voyage. So it's a very responsible position, let's say that. But it's fun because it's never mundane, not every day is the same. Not every voyage is the same. You could be carrying the same cargo from the same point A to point B, repeating it, but every voyage has its own unique challenges that come up. So it's about how creatively you can work around those challenges. It's okay. That keeps it interesting, yeah.
Okay, very interesting. So I have this question. Maybe I don't know if you can answer to this question, because we have the job as ship manager, like superintendent, this kind of jobs. What is the difference with a vessel operator? Because it's very hard to find definition actually about the difference.
Yeah, so with respect to vessel manager or superintendent, they're basically looking at the day-to-day operations of the vessel. So then they're not really linked to the commercial side of the shipping. They're more looking at the running of the vessel. Okay. Yes,
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, very interesting. So we talk about the responsibilities you have. With who actually you work? It can be the charter manager, the ship broker.
Yeah, so I work. So it changes from situation to situation. So at any given time, I'm working with the charterers for sure. At any given time, I'm working with the captain of the vessel for sure. I'm working with the agents for sure. So these are definite constants. Going from voyage to voyage. But I could also be working with the vessel managers. The vessel. If need be, if the voyage or the circumstance needs me to get in touch with them, I do get in touch with them. Okay. So vessel brokers don't come into the picture at all, because they're a completely different part of the spectrum. So that's not part of the commercial aspects of a voyage. Yeah.
Yes. So can you? What kind of type of vessels you operate in your life?
So we at UAL we have MPPs. They're multi-purpose vessels. So they are they vary from ranges from 4,000 to 12,000 deadweights. We have a pretty unique and a niche way of operating, because we sort of cater to. We're Africa focused. Let's say that in the name itself, you see that it's Universal Africa Lines. We're Africa focused. We have the industry that we focus on is majorly oil and gas, the mining industry in Africa. So we have liner services that run between Europe, Africa, US Africa, we're also actively developing the South America region as well, and then we have then obviously there are spot bookings that we do, spot fixtures that we do out of the Mediterranean. So what I personally do is I majorly look at the post ops for the spot bookings out of the Mediterranean.
Okay. When you talk about multi-purpose vessels, what kind of purpose it can be, how it looks like this kind of vessels?
They look like smaller bulk carriers.
Okay.
So they've got hatches, and
You have cranes on
they
it,
can.
or?
Yes, they could, and our vessels do, almost all. And so what we basically carry is break bulk, primarily break bulk. Obviously, we can also carry. We have the option of carrying containers. We have the option of carrying grain. So that's what makes it multi-purpose. That it can carry break bulk, it can carry containers, it can carry
Okay, very interesting.
bulk grains and
In your job,
so
is it not more challenging the fact that it's multi-purposes because you need to touch to almost everything? Is that true?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, so what makes it, like I said, it's very interesting because that one voyage you could be carrying grain, so that has a different sort of handling to it, and it has different challenges to it. Then you could be doing a heavy lift the next time. You're doing a break bulk, which needs special handling, and so every scenario is unique. Every scenario is different. It's about how you as an operator, you dig in, you see how you can, carry it safely. Yeah.
What can you say about the difference? I mean, for example, a tanker operator with a dry bulk vessel operator, what is the main difference?
There are big differences. I think so the break bulk is, the dry cargoes, the handling is different. When you talk about tankers, you're talking about they have more stringent regulations. They have to worry about segregation of oil. They have to look at the safety aspects. The whole contract is different. That is, signed between for a wet cargo like oil or chemical as compared to dry bulk. So operationally, the basic principles might be the same of shipping, but the nuances of the trade are different.
Okay, interesting. So now if we want to talk more about the different tasks you have, because vessel operator is very versatile. It's not like a maritime lawyer, for example, who you are a lawyer, so we know what is your job. In vessel operations, it's operations. So you have different things to do. So maybe we can talk first about route planning. So what can you say about it? What is your role with all the planning of the vessels?
Yeah, so how we do it is our basic role as the commercial guys is basically to let the vessel or the master know what rotation are we looking at, what port rotation are we looking at, and then it is up to the master to basically plan his voyage with all his available means that he has on board, with all this we're taking everything into account. So he does the planning. Where our role really comes in is if for any reason the vessel has to enter a high risk area, then we have to sort of assist the master in getting information and advice for safe navigation, say within the restricted area. Or when we fix a vessel for a port, we have to make sure that the vessel can actually enter port, keeping into account the drafts or other restrictions. So we get all sort of advice. I mean that part of pre-checks is already done with agents in ports, and then then there is a lot of consultation that happens in the pre-fixtures and then post-fixtures.
So we can say with the ship manager, you are the second captain of the vessel ashore.
No, not really, because the master is the whole and soul. Let's just say that his word is his word, and we do trust our masters.
You need to collaborate for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my point. Actually, you need to be very close to, because yes, it's like planning. It's the captain is doing a big job about it as well. So that's what we can say about route planning. What else as a tasks you have in your role? Like,
Yeah. So how it begins is I basically get a handover from our charters, who do the prefixtures. They gave me a handover with all the important information on it. It's my responsibility to send the voyage instructions to the master so that he knows what he's expected to follow through. Then I get in touch with the agents. I nominate them. I let them know. Then the next part is to bunker planning. We need to check with the master whether he has enough bunkers. If he doesn't, what could be the next best bunkering location, and so that is done. Then if there's anything else that is needed for the loading operations, maybe it could be some lashing materials that are needed, or depending on the cargo you're carrying, or the special sort of preparation that is needed for the cargo hold, that they have to be cleaned in a way, or you need there could be so many other things, that aspects that are needed for a successful loading. So then to get into that, then voyage calculation, pre-calculation is a big part, where for every voyage you drop you calculate your numbers, you see your numbers, and then you make an estimate of what your numbers look like, if keep taking into whatever factors that your experience can take into account, and then just simply follow through. And then these are the main parts, and then
Okay.
you have to
Fuel calculation, are you making this as well? Like taking into account the distance, the fuel you need, or this is not your job to do it?
No, so that is, bunkers is absolutely
Yeah.
part of our thing. So what we initially do is we do go back to the master. We ask him how much he can take, because he knows how much bunkers he already has, how much more could he that he can take. And then basis how much bunker that is already on board, we sort of do a calculation whether how much, how far they can get. And then bunker price is obviously important for the voyage calculation as well. Yes.
Okay. What is the more challenging tasks in your daily job? I mean, a task like that it will be quite hard.
So I think as a skill that could be a difficult thing, but also interesting, is negotiations. So when you have, every independent, no, going back on how a cargo is fixed, it could be fixed. It's fixed on certain terms, right? So on certain terms, you do have, on certain fixtures, you do have something known as a demurrage and a detention, right? So you have to go back. There's a calculation that you do. You see that if the vessel has stayed longer than the agreed duration, then you basically make a calculation. You go back to the charter and say that they're liable to pay that much extra. So I think the challenging part is on how you can put your point forward, because they can also come back with a counter, stating why they are correct. So that's the challenging part, where you have to sort of make sure that you get what you've asked for. So that's I would say that's the challenging bit, but I enjoy it. That's the part I like. So
Great.
yeah,
Okay.
but otherwise it's just about adapting to
Yes.
each scenario, which can be unique to unique, different to. I mean, it could be different.
Each day is different, actually. What you mentioned before. What can you describe your first day as vessel operator? It was stressful. It was. Can you describe it? Did you know?
Yeah, it was a little daunting, let's say that, because you're sitting in front of the computer, and then you see this exchange of emails happening, and then you're trying to understand, who is what, and then why is this, going. So the first day was, it can be it was I mean, I'll be very honest, it was a little scary, because I was trying to place puzzles. It's like puzzles, right? You've got blocks, and you're trying to see where they fit. And first day, obviously, you're not expected to, suddenly learn the whole, business. But yeah, it can be a little scary because when you see a whole
Yeah,
lot of
all this
emails running through.
information, data, but day after days,
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I think how lucky I got was I had excellent colleagues who
Mm.
made it very comfortable for me. Who brilliant. They were always there whenever I needed any. I still have questions actually. Anytime I have questions, I can just simply walk up to them without hesitation, and they're more than happy to guide me through. So I think that's what helps. Having a good team who are there for each other and who are just helping each other up. So then
Okay.
learning becomes that much faster and easier.
Okay, very interesting. And is your background as seafarer helps you to this job? Is it something very crucial actually?
It's a plus. I mean, if you're a
Okay.
seafarer and you join in operation, I think it's a plus because you already understand the flow of the business, and how what a role a charterer plays or what
Mm.
a ship owner plays, and the connections that happen commercially. So you already have that practical knowledge when you come in. But having said that, at the same time, um, you don't really need a shipping background to be an operator. You could be
Okay.
as fresh as anyone else. Just walk
Yes.
in and then learn on the job. It's not. It's a role for someone who's practical
Okay.
with the task, who can practically think and and logically solve work through the whole
Okay.
aspect. So
So to come back to this statement, what is the qualities, abilities of someone who wants to work as vessel operator?
um so I think the one
What you
big,
need?
I mean, as my recommendation, as in what I feel is what a person who wants to be an operator as a soft skill. I think soft skills are very important. One thing that's important is that you don't get too burdened with tasks. When a lot will might come to you at the same time. You suddenly have 10 different people asking you for different information. It's about how you handle it, that sort of pressure.
Okay.
So I think handling that interpersonal skills are very important, about how you deal with people, how you communicate with people, um, how you're able to prove your point, and then also being diligent with what you're doing, as in you don't procrastinate on things. You don't just let it be. You straight go for it, get it over with, clear it out. So um, I think
Okay.
those are some very, very, important skills to have when if you're getting
Good.
into operations.
Good to hear, at least from people who wants to make career in this field. They know at least what they need.
Yeah.
On about the job, when are you most busy? I mean, during which part operation? I mean, during loading and unloading of the vessel. During, or it's always a constant load of work.
Uh, no, I think it is very difficult to say though, because
Yeah.
as things that can go wrong anytime. So, I mean, I do get busy as soon as I get a handover, because then I have to, send out my instructions. I have
Mm.
to nominate agents. Those are pretty standard. But then, there could be something that suddenly happens in the middle of the night. It could be any time of the voyage, uh, where, suddenly things get really busy, because then, you're trying to troubleshoot something, or you're trying to rectify something, or trying to make sure that, it doesn't go the other way. It
Okay. In case of hazard, I mean, can be fire, etc. What is your role in this situation?
in terms of a hazard, you mean in terms of a
Yeah, for
fire?
example, you operate, I don't know, a container vessel, and you have one container in fire in the vessel, and you know it. So what you need to do right now to make your role as vessel operator?
I think what we do immediately is the first thing is obviously the safety of the vessel and the crew, as you know. So we have to make sure that, I mean, not directly, but then obviously check on the vessel that they're safe. That's one thing. And now that I'm giving you pointers. Let me just say that I haven't come across this situation personally, so it's going to be very my answers are going to be very out of what I think would be the apt way of doing it. So yeah, safety of the vessel, safety of the crew, I think is paramount, and that's how we would love to see it first. And then next would be, since it's cargo and we fixed it, then it comes into documentation of what's happened, evidence collections. We get our legal team involved. There's, if need be, P&I gets involved. And then, and depending on how bad the situation is, then the whole thing of deviation, if there's any that has to come in on the voyage, or, so it's situational based then. So, the legal P&I does come in,
So you are big responsibilities in any way in this situation. I want to ask you another question. Like, when I asked you the difference between a ship manager and a vessel operator, I just want to ask you when you need to work in close relation with the ship manager.
Say the few times that we work very closely together is say that we need a certain certificate that we need that the charterers are asking for. So when charterers come and they fix a vessel, they also want to vet the vessel to see if the vessel is compliant in certain ways or not. Does it have certain certificates or not? So then that's when we go back to the vessel managers, saying that ask them to provide us certificates, or if there are any plans that we vessel plans that we need, then we go to them. Sometimes they come to us asking they have to plan, say, a crew change, and what would be the best place to conduct a crew change. So then that's when the interactions happen. That's where the interface is.
As vessel operator, are you managing the crew doesn't have any importance for you? Okay, good point as well. Okay. So now we're going to ask you more easy questions, more wide questions. So what can you say about the technologies, for example, digitization, all this kind of stuff in your job? Did you see the difference or not yet?
So it's coming in. Let's say we in UAL are actively sort of looking at different solutions in different aspects of the whole operations. So personally, if you ask me, on my personal point of view, it's inevitable. I mean, digitalization is bound to come in. It is it's the next thing, as in so it's going to be big. Let me just say that. I mean, it's coming. It hasn't played a very big role so far in shipping, but it's going to be a very prominent. It's going to play a very prominent role in the near future.
Okay.
And it could be anything to do with. So now, when you have digitization that's coming in, the focus is majorly going to be on efficiency. Is going to be on environmental, factors, or emission, reducing emissions, reducing costs, just in time, and how you can use things like AI to better optimize your voyages, and so all that is already coming, and it's going to come in, I think, better and bigger.
I still imagine you are using a lot of CRM, like software, this kind of things. So anyway, you are quite, I think, used to work with technology.
Yeah, we do use technology, but I think the intention is to get in more. Let's say that.
Yeah, it will be like that for sure in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what kind of advice can you give to someone who wants to start as vessel operator?
My first advice would be to first understand what the role is. It's a very important, responsible role. And then the other advice would be to work on your soft skills, because I think soft skills are very, very important to have, and have a love for shipping. When you have this love for shipping, or this connection for shipping, it will make it'll make the whole experience better, when you get in as a vessel operator. So if you enjoy the commercial side of shipping, if you this is a perfect role then for you.
In the world, vessel operator, is it the same job? I mean, for example, you are working right now in Europe, but I know you were a sailor in India, you said?
I mean, I've lived in India, but the irony is my ship never called India.
Okay.
I sailed all over, yes.
But I mean, my question, which is is like the fact to be a vessel operator in Europe, is it the same that in Asia or another, or it's an international business, or it will be the same?
I mean, it's more or less the same, I mean, the basics will remain the same of the basic structure of what is expected of an operator will be more or less the same. So, yeah, that's what I think. I mean,
that's good. So I think I asked you all the question I wanted to ask you. Do you want to add something? Do you want some word of the end? Something you want to add?
All I'll say is, there are companies that are looking out. I mean, I'm sure there are companies, that need young people, need fresh minds. Every company has this thing of, a team should be a good mix of experienced people, but also get young, minds on board, so that, fresh ideas come up. Be ready, be ready to adapt to a culture, of the company on how they work. Don't resist knowledge. Be open to knowledge. Be curious. And just keep learning, because every day, is going to be a new learning in shipping. That's how it is.
I want to add about the vessel operator jobs. It's a jobs, if you're looking on LinkedIn, you have a lot of people working with this position, but we don't talk a lot about it. And many companies are looking for vessel operator, and they have this kind of trainership to become like junior vessel operator. Then you learn the job, then you can become more senior position later. So that's why I made this podcast, to give more visibility to the industry, because nobody knows about everything. For example, every time I talk about ships, people know always about maybe like captain, that's it, but they don't know about other jobs in the maritime industry.
That's true, and it was nice that I could talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. In the upcoming episodes, I have a lot of episodes with vessel operator as well. I have 2 more. So Thank you, Shri, for this podcast. For me, it was a pleasure to having you today. You bring so many value.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, I wish you all the best. And have a very nice evening, because it's already the evening.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Paulus. It was nice talking to you, and wish you all the best with this podcast and with your masters. And cheers. Have a good evening then.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Thank you for listening and watching this episode. We are looking forward to bring you more inspiring stories from maritime professionals, experts, and students. Do not hesitate to leave a review on Apple Podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Your support means a lot to us, and it greatly helps in our continuous growth. We're committed to bringing you more exciting episodes with passionate guests.